I know, right? Can't believe we coming to all these meetings now. What happened?
Yeah, Assemblyman Mackey gave it to us. Yeah,
I thought she was here.
She just walked outside. I don't know her. I don't even know who you're talking about. I don't know who that date is. They gave it, oh, because I gave it to you, but Assemblyman gave it to me. I wonder if it was for my signature.
Christy Mitchell Dowd.
TT.
I.
Aye. DOUTT. Landers. Brent.
I need somebody in that audience to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Who gonna volunteer?
Oh, we don't volunteer. I'll do it. Hey! That's a veteran for sure.
Okay, not yet.
He's ready. He's ready.
I'm on call.
Just playing games with me again.
So we just gonna do one then, 'cause we don't know who that is.
I propose we get touchscreen monitor.
We call this meeting to order. Ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you care to remain standing, we'll have our invocation.
Oh.
Why it ain't on here? From Reverend Casey.
Will you bow your head as I pray? Dear wise and loving Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance, and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thanks as well for the freedom to embrace you or the freedom to reject you. Thank you for loving us even so, from your boundless and gracious nature. In the Scriptures, you have said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you have established those very authorities to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and, in particular, for this assembled council. I am asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives, and joy in their task. I pray for the agenda set before them today. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city of 29 Palms. It is in your most blessed name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Klink,
Here.
Councilmember Scott,
Here.
Councilmember Mintz,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bildering,
Here.
Mayor Wright.
Here.
All present.
Okay, closed session announcements. We did the city manager's evaluation. He came out pretty good. He's gonna be around for a little bit. So, we're good. Changes to the agenda. We're moving item number 4 right behind number 1. So, we're gonna do that. Announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going on the city website and clicking on the meeting agendas link. Awards, presentation, appointments, and proclamations. First, we have presentation to Women of Color Global for their participation in Cash for Trash and recycling program.
Good evening.
Hello.
How you doing? First, I want to start off with thank you for everything you've done for the city, making it clean and beautiful.
Okay.
Could you tell us where you did this fine volunteer opportunity?
Right across the street, Highway 62,
Okay.
right across in that parking lot, next to little church of, yeah, right,
Church Desert?
that park, right across the street.
Where Rotary throws all their trash?
And I said, yeah.
He said yes. You know how many bags you collected, or you get a number?
Yes, we collected 10 bags, 4 pieces of wood, and like 5 boxes of cardboard boxes.
Okay. So thank you for all that. Just you 3?
Yes.
Did all that work? Or you had a lot of people?
There's other ones.
It was
They
a lot.
didn't show
I
up.
said, wow, that's a lot. Just you 3 did it all by yourself?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, on behalf of the city, here is some stuff for your Women of Color thing. And
Thank
from
you.
Burtech also giving you some money for all your hard work. And thank you for keeping our city clean and
Thank you.
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And Miss Cindy will take a picture of us.
Thank
And
you.
so
Miss
much.
Carey, hold tight. Yes, no, you.
Karen.
Up to the dice.
Okay, so we got a presentation certificate of recognition from Assemblymember Lackey. He's our assembly member for this area.
How you doing?
So I met with our state legislature, Assemblyman Tom Lackey, and I wanted to put in a Citizen Woman of the Year nomination for the city of 29 Palms. From the 34th Assembly District, Woman of the Year 2023. It is my honor to recognize you as a nominee for the 34th Assembly District 2023 Woman of the Year. Your dedication to being a role model and a leader within the community is truly worthy of recognition. Thank you for making the city of 29 Palms a better place to work and live. Congratulations, dated the 20th day of March 2023. Tom Lackey, Assemblyman, 34th District.
Thank you.
Don't show that to your mom.
Thank you. All right. So next we have a proclamation recognizing May 2023 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It says the City of 29 Palms Proclamation, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month 2023. Whereas during Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, our nation recognizes the innumerable contributions, vibrant cultures, and rich heritage of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, AA and NHPIs, as some of the fastest growing racial and ethnic groups in the nation. AA and NHPI communities represent a multitude of ethnicities, languages, and experiences that enrich America and strengthen our union. And whereas AA and NHPIs have long played an essential role in writing the American story, from serving our country in uniform, advocating for civil rights, starting new businesses, and winning Olympic medals, the contributions of the AA and NHPI community touch the lives of Americans every day. AA and NHPI serve with distinction at the highest levels of federal, state, and local government. And whereas this month we celebrate our fellow Americans from AA and NHPI communities and pay tribute to all they have done to help fulfill the promise of America for all, together, let us recommit ourselves to building a country in which every American, regardless of who they are, where they come from, or what they look like, has an opportunity to thrive. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of 29 Palms does hereby proclaim May 2023 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We call upon all Americans to learn more about the history of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, and to observe this month with appropriate programs and activities. Dated this 9th day of May 2023, and it's signed by me, the mayor, and we're going to present this to Chief Mark Ryan from the Combat Center Fire Department. And I love the mustache.
No speech?
Oh, I mean, everybody loves Lumpia, right?
Did you bring some?
No, the biggest thing for me is just like when you think about heritage and being powerful in heritage is, you know, what does heritage mean? Inheritance of those, the culture that, you know, the traditions of where you come from, and also to spread that to others. That way we all are in this melting pot we call America. So for me, for you guys to do this and, you know, and have these months, that way everybody can learn the heritage and the culture and we all just assimilate to become one. So I do
Awesome.
appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we got a proclamation recognizing May 2023 as Mental Health Awareness Month. City of 29 Palms Proclamation, Mental Health Awareness Month. Whereas each May we raise awareness about the importance of mental health and the impact on the well-being of all Americans, including children, adults, families, and communities across our nation. We also give thanks to the dedicated mental health providers whose service and support improve the lives of so many Americans. We stand in solidarity with those experiencing mental health conditions, renewing our commitment to providing them with the support they need and deserve. And whereas mental health challenges among our youth have also been particularly acute due to disruption in routines, increased social isolation, and learning loss, research has shown that social media plays a central role in increasing mental health challenges among young people, especially young women. Emergency department visits for attempted suicide among girls in 2021 increased by more than 50 department visits for 50% compared to 2020. American Indians, Alaska Natives, Black youth, and LGBTQIA plus youth also face a disproportionate risk of suicide. And whereas each of us has a vital role in supporting our fellow Americans living with mental health conditions, learn the warning signs of emotional distress and suicide, engage affected loved ones in supportive dialogue, fight the prejudice and negative attitudes that discourage those in need from seeking mental health support. Above all, let us collectively ensure that all children and adults experiencing mental health challenges are treated with the compassion, respect, and understanding they deserve. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of 29 Palms does hereby proclaim May 2023 as National Mental Health Awareness Month and encourages all citizens to take action in helping to strengthen the mental health of our communities and our nation, dated this 9th day of May, 2023. All right. Council comments and reports of meetings attended. Councilmember Scott.
Yeah, I went to the over by Shadow Mountain church. They had a demo for showers for unhoused people, and I thought it was really informative, and it could really be an asset to the city.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You only had just regular city meetings here, nothing on the outside. They were canceled. But I do want to just congratulate our city manager. He's now a triathlete.
Oh, yeah.
He did the swimming, biking, and running, so he's now in that triathlete club. So congratulations, Frank.
All right. Councilmember Clayton.
Wow, congratulations, Frank. Good job. Okay. First of all, I'd like to wish everybody celebrating a birthday in May here in 29 Palms a happy birthday, and the Morongo Basin as well. I attended the Southern California Association of Governments meeting conference down in Palm Desert last Thursday and Friday. The big topic was electric vehicles. Kind of give you these. I kind of scratched these little notes here. More people are willing to get EVs. 65% of EVs were sold last year. However, that's only 6% of the total cars that were sold. So gas vehicles are still getting the number one priority of what people want nowadays. AB 1236 is trying to streamline the permitting process for charging systems across the state of California. Let me think here. Tesla has 75,000 supercharging stations throughout the United States, and they're now working on doubling that and also getting the software from other companies that sell EVs like Toyota and all the other ones, and get them to work together at the supercharging, so any electric vehicle could use the supercharging, not just the Teslas. So they're working on that. EV affordability for all will be a challenge. They're not cheap. Electric trucks are really expensive. If gentlemen love their trucks, and some ladies love trucks too, they're going to be expensive. And the waiting list on EVs and regular vehicle supply issues are still ongoing because of COVID and the computer chip and all that good stuff. So if you're looking to buy, you're going to be on a waiting list for these cars. And of course, another big subject was housing, and the big push was to do housing as a region and not just housing in 29 Palms or housing in Yucca Valley. They want to combine it all together so that we can make a big push at getting our housing up to date. And also, I might like to say, if you want to adopt a street here in 29 Palms, we still have that ongoing process. You see Cindy Viescas over here. Pick out a street in 29 Palms, you get your name put on there, and you have to do so many times picking up trash. You leave the trash at the side of the road in the bags, and then Public Works comes and picks it up for us, and very easy job to do. And also, it's getting hot out there. Drink lots of water. Make sure the kids and the dogs are not left in the vehicle. I checked my vehicle today when I was at work. When I went in, it was a nice cool 75 degrees. When I came out, my car said it was 90 degrees inside that car, and it was hot. So you can just imagine if a child or a dog is in there, it's not good for them. So just double check, make sure you have your child and your dogs and cats taken out of that vehicle when you leave, even if it's for a minute or two, because it gets hot in there. That's it.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Regular meetings, as I attended to, nothing else on schedule. I just want to wish happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially my mom. She deserves a medal for me being her son, believe me. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, so I want to wish, she used to be on Citizen Patrol, Joanne Ferrero, a happy birthday, a happy late birthday. And also, thanks, Mayor Pro Tem, for reminding us. Happy Mother's Day to my mom. I also did attend, went and viewed the portable showers. Very interesting unit and much needed in the community. So, I mean, I really think it was good. My question, and they couldn't answer it, maybe I didn't ask the right person, because right now it contains the water, but I mean, that tank is only but so big, so, what they do if it gets full and that kind of stuff. So that's the only thing we have to work out. And then I was also in a meeting with Assemblymember Lackey, with Councilmember Scott, and I attended the Joshua Tree 55. I started the races. I've got my shirt on right there. I wasn't in the race. I just started them. I started the races with Colonel Bain from the base. They're a big participant in the base. I have no idea how many people were out there, but I know it was a lot. I think they said they had a max of 400 sign-ups, and they had people still coming up trying to sign up. So, so I know they had at least 400. And then we just did the National Day of Prayer last Thursday. We did 3 events. We did 7 and noon right here in Veterans Park, and then we did a 6:30 service at the Gospel Fellowship, and all of the events were very well attended, and it was good, you know, to get out and do that. So that's all I have. Thank you. Consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the City Council. The public will be given an opportunity to comment on consent calendar items prior to the City Council action. Oh, I forgot. I also did I tested the pool slide, so it's good to go. It's ready. All right. Yeah. Anybody want to pull a consent calendar item?
Mr. Mayor, can I pull number 10, please, land transfer agreement?
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I'll open up to the public. Anybody want to comment on consent calendar items or pull one? Okay, close it, bring it back.
I move the consent calendar except for number 10.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Scott,
Aye.
Councilmember Mintz,
Aye.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Buildering,
Aye.
Mayor Wright.
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Okay, number 10 was pulled, land transfer agreement.
Yeah, just a brief intro to the topic. This land transfer agreement is with Basin Transit, formerly Morongo Basin MBTA. Through the process of Project Phoenix, we engaged with Basin Transit about an opportunity in the downtown area to expand services. The current transfer station they have on Adobe Road, right next to the senior center, is kind of landlocked. There's nowhere for them to grow, and they have exceeded the capacity there. So we looked for land in our downtown area. The city became the lead agency to try to find property for them, and we acquired it. It's the property right behind Weefels. Just a little photo to depict it. Weefels and Chevron. We acquired it, and we're now transferring it back over to MBTA. They're repaying us for the cost of it. Also, too, just to add, they won't be developing that till probably, I think it's like eight years approximately. During that interim, probably more so when the hotel gets developed and construction starts, that property is used for parking. Then we will be able to use that property that we're talking about tonight for overflow parking. So that concludes my staff report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I want to add that at the MBTA, the last MBTA meeting, we voted on this, and it was a unanimous vote to, yes, do the transfer and to allow the city to use it for parking. So,
That's pretty good. I think that's a great idea. I know this is pretty far out, but you know, I think also we want to look at the old bus station as for the city acquiring that, maybe for a pocket park or something like that. I don't know if that's been discussed.
yeah. Okay, so anybody got number 10? We good? Okay.
I'll move item 10.
Second.
Roll call.
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Joe.
Councilmember Scott,
Aye.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Councilmember Mintz,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Buildering,
Aye.
Mayor Wright.
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you.
That
Okay.
might be a good place to put that shower plate thing that you were
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Public hearing, none. Discussion and potential action items. The process of electing mayor and mayor pro tem each year, future agenda item.
Sure. Okay, please.
So this is a future agenda item request where someone asked if maybe the process of selecting a mayor and mayor pro tem might be better off in as a different process besides the way that we currently do, which is It was adopted by the City Council and established that the council members ascend to the mayor's seat, and the order of succession is determined by the number of votes received in the elections. Since the mayor and mayor pro tem change annually, as the mayor pro tem ascends to the mayor's seat, the individual who receives the next highest votes becomes the mayor pro tem. Was indicated earlier, this system allows for an orderly succession of council members. With the changing of an at-large community to districts, this process may need to be adjusted. Staff is looking for council direction, if appropriate. The current process has been in place for a minimum of 25 plus years, and past practice has been policy.
Okay. Any questions?
Not yet, yeah.
Okay. Open up to the public. No green slips. Okay.
Thank you. My name is Vino Nathraj. I was wondering if it's possible for the mayor to be elected by the community. We'll still have those 5 seats there, except that rather than y'all deciding who the mayor will be, let the people elect the mayor going forward. What is the process in that, and how can it be achieved?
Well, that's,
Policy.
yeah.
Well,
Different charter. We have to change the charter, wouldn't we?
well, so there's two
necessarily.
aspects of it. There's a strong mayor, and that's a complete charter change. So that's like Los Angeles, that's, San Diego. The strong mayor is like a city manager position, right? Then you have just an elected mayor, like La Quinta, Cathedral City. I think they have elected mayors, and that would have to be, that's a policy, right? So when we went through the process, you'd have to change your policy.
And wouldn't it also subject us to
The CVRA?
lawsuits? Yeah.
Well, so interestingly, there has been some evolution. So when we went through the districting originally, there was no precedent. Legal was very, as we went through the process, it wasn't defensible, right? That's what we heard when we went through the process, wasn't defensible. Since then, it has evolved, and the NDA, National Demographer, the folks who did our was our demographer, they actually have started doing some elected mayor cities, and it hasn't been challenged. So, yeah, so it's possible.
So-
But it's a matter if you want to do it, it's policy.
Okay.
Yeah, I've studied the issue extensively, and there are two ways that we can do this. Essentially, we're going to have to do a ballot measure, though, so that it is defensible. We're going to have to send it to the people on a ballot for them to vote, and you can do it one or two ways. You can do it with how we have now, a 5-person council with 4 districts and 1 at-large mayor, or you could do a 7-person council with 6 districts and 1 at-large mayor. Those would be the 2 options if you wanted to go that route.
Thanks.
So if it has to go to the ballot, next year might be the perfect year. We have presidential elections. Maybe we should put it on the ballot. Thank you.
Does that make them a paid position?
It's not, that's strong mayor.
That's a strong mayor.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, that's more like Los Angeles, San Diego, places like that, yeah.
So how long they sit in that seat?
Okay, I'll close the public. Go ahead.
Well, so that'd be
Once
poli-
they get elected,
yeah.
if you put a term,
To the next.
if you put a term limit on that position, it could be 2, 4, 6, or until you find someone else to run.
And to do another election, we have to pay for that.
You have to and you'd have to draw district lines again, and so
There goes more money toward doing the demographer.
Yeah, the demographer costs, I want to say $25,000 or $30,000 in that range somewhere, so, yeah.
Money doesn't change.
Well, in reality, I'm okay with the way we still do it. It's a very amicable transition going forward. It's the mayor is a does a lot of extra stuff. So if someone was just the mayor and had to do all those events for the same salary, I don't really know who'd want to do that for 4 straight years, because it's not a power position at all. So that's my opinion. They would just keeping it the same.
So, I agree. I like the idea of the people electing the mayor. However, I understand that it might not be feasible at the moment because of all of the different things that we have to do, redistricting and also hiring the person to do all that stuff. But because we're in districts, I came up with a second plan, a backup plan, and I think that if you just rotate the mayor by district, with regardless of who's in that position, that's probably the smoothest way to do this. So right now, Mayor Wright is the mayor, and he represents the 5th district. Next year, the mayor will be Mayor Pro Tem Bilderin, who represents the 1st district, and then the 2nd district, then the 3rd district, then the 4th. Oh, you're not going to be here. You're done?
So then, and, I mean, it's kind of in that cycle right now, isn't it? But might still be a skip to 3rd. It's already in that. And the people are already voting for the mayor, because we know if you vote for a council member, those 4 years he's going to be the mayor somewhere in that. So you're pretty much, yeah, pretty much when you're voting for your council member, you're pretty much saying that person's going to be a mayor eventually. So if you're voting for him, like, I don't want to be the mayor, but he's going to be a council member, that's kind of not smart on your part on your vote. So I think they're already voting for the mayor in theory.
I like the idea of the district 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you're 5, then 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, because that number game's hard now. Like, if no one runs in my district, I'm 100%.
You're 100%.
He had 5 going against him.
Yeah, you can't do favorites on votes, I mean, the highest votes anymore, because the votes are so low anyways.
Yeah, I'm
based on
okay with the
districts.
number part of it,
Yeah.
because
Number's
that,
fine.
again, that's just a smooth transition. There's no inner fighting up here. Who's gonna be the mayor?
Yeah.
Be doing all this stuff. There's just no reason, I don't know. We've gone to those conferences and they've had knockout dragouts just to see who's gonna be the figurehead.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no extra power at all.
Then I'll make a motion. There we go with districts.
Second.
Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From
I get starting with 5, 1, 2, yeah,
Yeah.
starting and then it just
Starting
go in
this way.
rotation, yeah.
Next year we'll start with 1.
Okay, we got a second too. Roll call?
Councilmember Mintz,
Yes.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Councilmember Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Buildering,
Aye.
Mayor Wright.
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
All right. Yeah, number 16, right?
Mr. Mayor, I have to abstain myself.
Oh,
This is
that's right.
still
I'm sorry.
Project Phoenix funds, so
All right.
conflict of
Yes, sir.
interest.
The captain gonna watch you. I know. Yeah. Keep an eye on him. He's not supposed to hear this part.
Well, I can hear it, I just can't act on it. You can't look at my face.
Okay. Number 16.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This item is our annual 2-year budget preliminary for Project Phoenix, and the next one will be both special funds. I'm going to turn it over to our finance director, Abigail Hernandez, to give the presentation.
Thank you, Frank. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Like Frank said, tonight in front of you is the preliminary review for the Project Phoenix Funds budget for fiscal year 23-24 and 24-25. I apologize in advance for my rusty voice. Just let me know if at some point you can't hear me. I'll try to speak up louder. So this presentation is going to be very short. Can you please go to slide 4 of the PowerPoint, please, Frank? So this funds are for the Project Phoenix, and basically they just account for the activities within the city's downtown revitalization project, which is expected to be completed in year 23-24, with the exception of our housing fund. And we don't have that much activity in this funds, but we still have a few projects that are open. Can you please go to the next slide, the next one? So we have the building improvement loan program we still have about $266,000 left in those funds, and then $34,000 for the community center multi-purpose room, and $15,000 for public art. And also the biggest project that we have is the Project Phoenix package treatment plan at for $2 million. Again, not much going on, but can you go back to the previous slide, Frank? Thank you. So for the Project Phoenix package treatment plan, we're expecting to receive $1.6 million from federal grants. And then we still have about $1.1 million in housing reserves. The $1.1 million hasn't been committed to any specific project, so we'll seek for guidance in future meetings. And that concludes my presentation.
Now, this is, well, if you have any comments. So you're
yeah,
not
just for
approving anything
comments.
tonight, so if you have any comments or whatever, but if not, yeah, on to the next one. Yeah, public comment, is any, public comment, yeah. So the next one is well, we'll ask Councilmember Mintz to come back then.
You can come back, Danny. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Frank. So this presentation is for the special funds, and this is, again, just a preliminary. No approvals are required. As mentioned in prior meetings, the final adoption of the budget is scheduled for May 23rd for the general funds, and June 13th for the special funds and Project Phoenix funds. So let me see. Yeah, so let's start with the revenue sources for the special funds. So we are projecting about $13.7 million in federal and state grants for various projects, including the construction of the Split Rock Bridge, the Sullivan Bike Path, the design for the collection system, and the planning for the wastewater treatment plant. For tax revenue in year one, we're estimating $2 million and $2.2 million in year two. And tax revenue is for things like our road and street repairs and maintenance. For property taxes, these are to pay for the successor agency bond and its administration, and we're projecting $943,000 in year one and $878,000 in year two. Fees in year one includes things like the 1.5% TIVIT fee applied to short-term stays at vacation, short-term rentals and hotels. Also the curb, gutter, and sidewalk impact fees, and the district fees for landscaping and lighting at the Desert Vista and Historic Plaza tracks. The transfers for $335,000 from the general fund. Those are for the purchase of the animal control vehicle for $105,000, $160,000 for the self-funding of the capital projects fund, as well as $65,000 subsidy for the sewer fund. We are projecting $500,000 financing proceeds for the replacement of the ball field lights at Lucky Park. Can you please go to the next slide? Okay, so here we have our tax revenue from gas tax and SB1 over, since 2013. As you can see, we continue to see increases from this revenue, especially with the growth and demand for fuel. Well, it will be interesting to see when and how, the energy efficiency and initiatives will impact this revenue in future years. Next slide. Okay, so this is a summary for our capital spending for the 2-year budget. So some of the projects in year 1 might roll over to year 2, depending on how fast the projects move along. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so these are some of the roads that are going to be overlaid for the upcoming year. This is not a final list. We're still working through the process of, finding which streets need the most repairs. So again, this is just a preliminary list. Next slide. Okay, so for street projects, so we have overlaid, we're estimating that we're going to spend about $934,000 in road overlays, $847,000 for street repairs and maintenance. And then we just enter into a cost-sharing agreement with the San Bernardino Flood Control District for the reconstruction of the bridge and roadway channel array. The estimate for the project is about $2 million, and $329,000 of that is going to be the city's share for that project. Next slide, please. For park projects, we have the ball field lights, the replacement of the ball field lights at Lucky Park. This was one of the priorities that council selected when we had our strategic planning meeting. We're estimating that the project is going to cost about $1.6 million. Then we also have CDBG funding for the resurfacing projects for the basketball, tennis, and ball courts at city. Next slide, please. And so for our safety projects, and this is where most of our grant revenue is going to be covering. So we have the Split Rock Bridge, which is estimated at $4.2 million. The Slip and Bike Path, $3.7 million. The Safe Route to School and the 2-mile Adobe and Utah intersection project. Those are expected to be completed by December 2023. And the neighborhood safety project might be completed within the next 2 weeks, but I'll provide an update on that project during our final budget meeting. I just wanted to stay on that, please. So I just wanted to highlight that we're working with Caltrans to get the grant approved for the Split Rock Bridge. That's expected to be approved in October of this year. So, let me see what else. That's it on that slide. Then for our sewer fund, we have a couple of capital projects. Like I said, the wastewater treatment plant, that's about $2.5 million, and the design for the collection system. The funding for that is the combination of state grants, federal grants, and some city matching funds. For the other projects that we have going on, although we have going on and we'll start in the new fiscal year, is the animal control shelter. Again, that's something that the council, city council had selected as a top priority. So we are right now allocating $350,000 for the design of the new shelter, and we have about $327,000 left for the building for the upgrades of the existing building. Then we also have the remodel for the community development building, and like I said earlier, we have budgeted $105,000 for the purchase of a vehicle that animal control department needs. Next slide, please. And for the sewer fund, we are projecting that the general fund is going to subsidize about $81,000 of the operating expenditures. Currently, we are just collecting about $15,000 in sewer fees, so the rest of the operating expenses have to be subsidized by the general fund. So major changes within the other special funds that we have right now, the traffic and safety fund. That one, we haven't been receiving enough revenue from traffic tickets, and so we're gonna have to close that fund, and then just whatever future expenditures we have for traffic is going to be absorbed by the general fund.
And if I may add to that, just, I don't want the captain, or you think the captain and his deputies aren't writing citations for speeding. They are. But there, a few years ago, the state started, pushing more of those funds to the court system as opposed to the city. So we've seen this, constant decrease. We used to get about $50,000 a year, and I think, what did we get last year? $1,500, something like that. So yeah, it's all been pushed to now the courts.
Thank you, Frank. Next slide, please. So another change coming up is for the Tourism Business Improvement District Fund, TIVIT for short. So staff is currently working with a consultant to convert the fund from an 80 Act law to a 94 Act law to separate the fund, the district from the city. So it would be its own separate entity. Again, still working through that process with our consultant. Another major change is in the successor agencies. So we've been receiving we were actually approved $250,000 for administrative fees, and the DOF has, asked us to reduce that fee by $25,000 each year. So we actually just submitted our last and final ROPS with the county and pending DOF approval. And basically what that does is it'll reduce our admin fee to $25,000. Again, and mainly because we are not going to be required to do some of the reporting that we currently do, and or attend the meetings with the county to approve our ROPS yearly. So that's still a work in process. We haven't received approval from DOF. But we are expecting our admin fee from the successor agency to be $25,000 starting in fiscal year 24-25. Okay, next slide. So again, nothing to approve for the special funds for the 2-year budget, but we are requesting a budget adjustment of $58,000 in the gas tax fund for the acquisition of a roller needed by Public Works, and that's in fiscal year 22-23. So the reason why we are asking for that adjustment this year is because we were originally told that we weren't going to be able to get the roller until I believe like 268 days from the day that we requested this roller. That was about a month ago. But now we got the company contacted us, and they said it's probably going to be ready within a month. So and the roller is desperately needed by the Public Works. So we are requesting that adjustment for the 22-23 budget.
Okay.
And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions.
Any questions for staff? Open it to the public. Any questions for staff? Any green slips? Bring it back. Okay, looking for a motion for the 58,000 adjustment.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Councilmember Mintz,
Aye.
Councilmember Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bildering,
Aye.
Mayor Wright.
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Okay. Thank you. Future council initiated items.
I'm not quite sure what needs to happen, but I've talked about the self-help construction program several times at strategic planning, and I appreciate the city manager Frank Lucchino for actually moving that forward and working with the executive director down there. I want to identify 10 lots, though, and Frank can probably add a little bit more clarification to this. For the program, the city needs to own 10 lots to do the self-help construction. We own 10 lots behind Project Phoenix. I just think that land is probably better served for more like commercial activities for tourism. And so I'd like to try to figure out a way to get to identify 10 lots within the economic zone to do the self-help construction program. And we'll get the money back. So that's the good part. So we'll buy the land, but when the project is done, the city will get the money back, so it doesn't have to come from our budget. So can I make a future agenda item?
Yeah, and assuming the council wants to move that forward, yeah, so I have some information on it, kind of, kicking it around since housing is a priority of the council, but I could bring it forward to, if the council so chooses to give it.
Yeah, okay.
And I have one too. If I can get another council member to say yes to bring in the VHR liability limit insurance to council next May's meeting, because there are some people out there that are close to getting their permit, but it's the $1 million limit that is stopping them, and we need to. The city doesn't have to have them have even the liability if they didn't, because it's up to the people that own the house to have the liability that they feel comfortable with. So if we put it down to 500,000 or just take it totally out, that would be great. But
And just to add some background to that, I know talking to Councilmember Klink on it, the Planning Commission, although council gave direction on it, the Planning Commission, it may take some time before it ultimately comes back to you. So
if we did it, we talked about in May 23rd, we're gonna have to wait for 30 days because we're changing part of the ordinance, or?
yeah, so when you change policy, you got a first reading, second reading, 30 days thereafter. But I think, and I'll talk to Patrick about it, you could give direction to, make a temporary amendment, I think. But when it comes back to the council, I'll have some solutions for that.
Well,
I'll talk to Patrick.
So we can see it.
Yeah.
So we can get all the information by 2 weeks.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, public comments. This is the time for the public to address the city council on issues within the jurisdiction of the city council that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the city council and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. There is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out name and address slips and give them to the city clerk. The city council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration of the item on the agenda. Got any green slips?
This is not gonna be what you think.
Okay, Joseph,
Councilman?
is that Gardner or Gardner?
Carter.
Oh, okay.
Carter. Everybody gets that wrong. I just want to say thank you. I think the Reverend there gave a perfect invocation about what our democracy means. And I want to say thank you to the City Council and to Frank, the City Manager, for listening to us and having an honest policy debate on the sewer issue. Like I told Frank last night, no matter how much I take a contrary position to this, and I fight you on this, I really respect the policy debate that you've allowed to have, the fact that you've listened to us, the fact that you've, I went to the planning meeting last night, everybody had a say, people listened. This is what democracy is all about, and I really respect the difficult jobs that you have balancing all of this. I know it's very easy for me to come up and say, don't do this, don't do that. And I know that all of you, if you had a magic wand, you'd make a perfect 29 Palms. So I just, I spend a lot of time watching the news while I do other stuff. And Ukraine is on our minds. And it does not escape my mind my notice that right now people are fighting and dying for this very right to do exactly what I'm doing right now. And instead of that, I'm fighting the council on the sewer, but I still got to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. That is what America is all about, and thank you so much for being that kind of city council. Not every city in the United States even has that, so thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Okay, no more green slips. City manager update.
I'll be fast. I just wanted to thank the council for your confidence tonight in my employee evaluation. I appreciate that, and I would be remiss because it isn't one person who carries out your policies. It's the entire team. And although you evaluated me tonight, it was reflective of the great job that all the staff does. And so some of which are here this evening. Ms. Viescas, Ms. Hernandez, you got Mr. Stacy in the back. Thanks, Craig, for coming. I don't know if the council wanted him to have come up and talk a little bit since he came to the meeting, talk about the roller or roads or anything. But anyway, we have a great staff, and although you, again, reviewed me tonight, it's about them and what they do. So thank you. So just a couple updates, and I'll be brief. The business loan improvement program, as you saw in the Project Phoenix item, we continue to move forward on it, but we're going to start really pushing on some of those businesses to get things done. The intent of it was our downtown project, that in concert with our downtown project, Freedom Plaza, that we'd have some improvements. And some are a little slower than others, and we're going to start really pushing on that, or let others kind of get in there that want it, that maybe didn't get the money. So that we'll be working on that. Edison, I got an update today. Edison has got a lot of good candidates for the replacing Jennifer Cusack as our government relations person. It's not filled right now, so it's in an interim status, but just got an email just recently. They have a lot of good candidates, so hopefully soon they will be hiring somebody. 2 weeks from now, I'll be going to Sacramento for our CIRA, which is our risk pool, formerly PARSAC, our annual conference, which we get all our insurance rates, basically. So that is coming up here very shortly, which will conclude the budget. Then finally, and I'll be done, one thing, and we'll be talking about it next council meeting, events. Events, obviously a big topic that we've had over the last year. So next general fund budget you'll be seeing is we talked about last time, there's $50,000 in it. So think about it next meeting. What I'm going to be asking for is 2 members of the council as a subcommittee. So we'll be putting out for call for events once the new year starts, so people can put in those requests, and then that subcommittee then can go through them and make the recommendation to the full council. So just start thinking about that. That'll be coming up next meeting. And again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Ms. Fiesca is here, Ms. Hernandez, and all the other mothers out there.
All right. So we're going to adjourn this meeting in memory of Miriam Huff Tremblay. She was the Director of Operations at Joshua Tree National Park Association.
What was her name? What did she? Would I know what she looked like?